match, probably, similar to the matches the night before with Ishii and Naito and Omega and Elgin, are probably about that same level. And Omega won the match with the one-winged angel in 31-20 to win the inaugural U.S. Heavyweight Championship tournament.
Now, Ishii's stiff in the ring, but not stiff like not a good worker, stiff more like by design.
No, yeah, I guess I just meant like I don't know, strong style type stuff, like his clotheslines, his headbutts, like those types of moves is what I mean. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, he's and the dude, he doesn't. JR said, and I'm going to cuss. I'm going to quote JR. He said, and I think it was night one. He's a look at Ishii. The man's a goddamn appliance, and it's very true because Ishii. You see this dude get vertically dropped on his neck like 10 times a match. I actually worry for the man's safety, but I guess he doesn't have a neck. And the story was Ishii was able to eat almost all of Omega's V-triggers, the knees, and all that stuff. And he took a brutal Snapdragon suplex off the apron on a table that didn't break, and he just slammed his head again. I mean, these two have had matches before, and Ishii beat Omega at the New Japan Cup, I believe. That was earlier this year. So the story of this tournament was, I guess, Omega overcoming the two people that have gotten important wins over him, which makes me wonder if he's going to go ahead and beat Okada in the G1 and get the third. But either way, I thought it was a really, really impressive debut for New Japan. Now, these you could rank them as a whole. What would you grade this weekend for New Japan?
I guess it's probably like about a B level for me.
Interesting. Okay, you went B. I went A minus.
A minus.
I went A minus because
that's interesting. How about that?
I'm listening. That's okay. I think when I look back at this weekend, I could watch Omega Ishii, the Bucks versus Roppongi Vice, Ishii Zack Sabre, Zack Sabre versus Juice, Ishii versus Naito, Elgin versus Omega, Rhodes versus Okada over and over and over and over again. I think those were, well, not Rhodes versus Okada, but the rest of them I could. And that's, I mean, 2 back-to-back nights, and you put 5 or 6 matches, or that are very, very highly regarded. I think they did a really good job in showing what they are. I mean, you got 2.5 hours of wrestling on a 4-hour show. That's not bad considering there's commercials and stuff like that for night 2. If you watch New Japan and you watch WWE, it's literally comparing apples to spaghetti. It's two different things, and that's not saying one is better than the other. It's what you could find more enjoyable for sure, but it's really not the same business. And I think that's why New Japan is coming over here. They're showing, with the success of all like the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll's stuff and Omega stuff and Hot Topic, there's more of a market over here than I think they even anticipated, which I can only hope means they'll bring over a New Japan World app, which will make my life a lot easier. But it seems like the real wrestling crowd is kind of clamoring for more wrestling, and that's the void that New Japan's going to fill. And Omega said himself, he said he thinks they could do a 20,000 seat arena, which is which would be insane. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thought is insane that they could do that.
You think so?
Yeah. No way.
You don't think they could do 20,000 seats?
How?
They sold out 2,500 in an hour.
Okay.
I think...
So does Ring of Honor sells out Hammerstein Ballroom in like a day or whatever it is. Like, doesn't mean it's like 1,800 people or something like that. 20,000 people is a lot different than like 2,000 or 3,000 people.
I'm saying if you're going to put a tournament, you're going to put something like that. You're going to market it correctly. You're going to have more of a U.S. I guess marketing strategy. I'm not saying they're going to fill up the arena, but I think 2,000 people in that venue was a harsh underestimate. I think they could have went to a bigger arena for sure.
Maybe they could have got more people, but I don't think they would have gotten anywhere near 20,000 for an arena. There's just no way.
Well, I'm not saying they could have got 20,000 for arena, but I'm saying if you're going to do 2,000 or 20,000, I would go with the higher end. I think 2,000 people in that venue. First of all, I will give the crowd a lot of credit though, because they sat through 4 hours of wrestling, and they were as hyped for the main event as they were for the opening match on both nights. So that stands, to the crowd and I guess the pacing of the show. Even though they sat through your 30-minute intermission, they were still hyped. Kudos for them. I don't know if I could do it.
I guess it was earlier in the day for them, so.
Oh, that's true. It would be 3 hours, yeah, because it was in California. So. Are you excited to see the G1? Do you have any predictions?
Not really. I think it's just. I assume it'll be the same cast of characters that it's been the last couple of years, as far as the guys that'll be close or near the finals. It'll probably be some combination of Okada, Omega, Tanahashi, Naito, or Ishii. If it's somebody else outside of that, then maybe that'll be a change of pace. But
Saber.
Maybe. I don't know. But I think that'll be probably come down to those types of guys again. Obviously, they're gonna have another Okada Omega match just because they're in the same pool.
They're in the same bracket. Yeah.
So I'm sure that'll be something that people will be interested in seeing. But I don't know that I have. I think Naito is criminally underutilized at this point, just given how he's been. So I would like to see him win it, but I don't know that that's necessarily my prediction. I would like to see him if I was pulling for somebody.
Naito's in Block A, so I definitely think he'll be the winner of Block A. And either Omega or... I would love to see neither Omega nor Okada be the Block B champion. I think that'd be interesting. Now, who else is in that block? That's a good question, because I haven't looked at it. Maybe Bad Luck Fale. They're pretty good for that. Throwing a Fale victory in every single year. But so that was the New Japan weekend. They had the Lionsgate show, which is like the young guys, and I think that's important to help with the for the future of New Japan. But before we wrap up here, we'll talk a little bit about Slammiversary, which you and I watched. We did down the $59.99 to watch Gary Barnage and D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to go through every single match now because we're kind of.
I want to talk about Congo Kong.
We're running a little short on time, but
as I call him, Commander Nipples.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and very quickly just touch upon. I guess overall, I will say, I wasn't sure what to expect. Right, obviously,
nobody was.
Impact and formerly TNA did not have the best reputations for a while. With a lot of different things going on with them, of course, that everybody knows about. But I would say that I was hoping that this card would turn out very well, and I think that it did for the most part. I think most of the matches, if not all of them, were entertaining in some capacity, whether it was from an in-ring perspective, a storyline perspective, or whatever shenanigans they pulled. Like obviously the Borash and Joe Park versus Matthews and Scott Steiner match was thought to be a train wreck, which was very awesome. Well could have been, but they turned it into a nice kind of a Final Deletion style backstage thing where they had Shark Boy and Father James Mitchell came back and all that type of stuff, and then Josh Matthews ended up taking a spot on the tax, and Borash and Joe Park / Abyss ended up winning that match. The D'Angelo Williams match.
The MVP of the night, man.
D'Angelo and Moose beat Chris Adonis and Eli Drake. D'Angelo, however long he trained for, I don't know, but there was conflicting reports about that out there. So apparently he only trained for like 3 days, but very, very athletic and performance from him.
Wait, what? I didn't hear that.
Apparently Moose said he only trained for 3 days.
If D'Angelo Williams can do that after 3 days, there's no excuse for Lama. Sorry. I'm just saying.
So that match also I thought was very entertaining. Williams I thought did a really, really nice job, especially for him, just from a guy who's an athlete. Did really well with that. And then several other matches were entertaining. The 4-way tag match with wrestlers from different promotions, AAA, The Crash, Pro Wrestling Noah was a pretty entertaining spot fest to open the show. EC3 and James Storm had a nice strap match, I thought, pretty brutal. Sanjay Dutt beat Low-Key 2 out of 3 falls for the X Division title. Also entertaining. The Full Metal Mayhem with the Edwards versus the Richards. Very good. Sienna and Rosemary was slightly disappointing, I would say, the unification match for the women's title. And El Patron beat Lashley in the main event to unify the World Championships, which, again, was a solid match with those guys. So I thought up and down, the card was pretty good. I thought it was worth the $40 to pay for it. It was a nice, hopefully a turning point for Impact / GFW.
Nice with the pun.
There you go.
Nice.
To hopefully make it back on a better track going forward.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the show too. I thought the pacing was really good of the matches. Sienna and Rosemary was definitely disappointing. I expected a lot more from that. Dud and Loki had a really good match, which they know each other well enough. Big fan of the Full Metal Mayhem match, although it kind of felt like a lot shorter on time than it should have been. They might have been running long there. Anything else? You know what? The finish of the main event came off very flat to me, which is unfortunate because they were having a really good match, Patron and Lashley. And already we said I don't like this stupid hanging stomp spot as it is. So for that to be the finish out of nowhere kind of hurt it for me. But aside from a botch in the opening tag match, I thought there was maybe one misstep in a 15-minute just sprint. So this was definitely a good start for GF, whatever the hell it's called now. And Jeremy Borash and Abyss and Josh Matthews Scott Steiner match, we were literally in tears. Like, it was absolutely hilarious. Scott Steiner calling everybody a fat ass, was the guy probably got paid like $1,000 for that. Like, give me that job. But no, I really I enjoyed the show. I was glad we watched it, and for me personally, I think it was a great weekend of professional wrestling, and there wasn't one WWE show, which stands to say that there's other stuff out there right now, and a lot of these companies are bringing their A game. So I'm hoping that GFW kind of continues the trend they're going, and I hope we see more from New Japan over here in America. What would you grade this show before we wrap up?
I would also give this a B. This is also a B show for me.
I would give this show a B as well. I think it was, nothing over the top, kind of beat down the doors, but consistently good the entire way down. And that's all you can really ask for. There's nothing I would be like, oh, except for KM and Congo Kong. I didn't see that.
So before we wrap up, you had teased something earlier about a 5 count for next week that I don't know anything about.
I did not. For next week, we've just completed the month of June, correct?
That is correct.
I'm not Socrates, but I believe that's halfway through a calendar year.
Socrates, yep.
So next week, the 5 count, I would like you to give me the 5 best matches of 2017 so far.
Okay.
Should be nice and easy because they all happen this weekend in New Japan.
At TNA?
Haboom. No, not at TNA. Oh, there could be a couple in there. No, not TNA. But that's your homework for next week. And to all of our listeners, if you'd like to get in on the fun of the 5 count, at All Night Long WP on Twitter, at All Night Long WP on Instagram, Facebook.com/All Night Long WP, Damage 365 Radio, ProWrestling.com. There's a million ways to get to us. And if we decide your 5 count is better than ours, Joe is going to come to your house and wash your car.
Only if it's in Suffolk County. I don't go past that.
Only if it's in Patchogue, actually, in Suffolk County.
Actually, you have to bring your car to my house, and then I'll wash it. That's fine.
That's fine. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, he is the Stallion. I am the Enforcer, and we are tapping out.